Sometimes I wish I had a time machine, just to go back to eras that seemed a little simpler, a little more slow-paced. And I don't want to live in the past, but there is great comfort and familiarity in visiting times and really probably people who we miss. Lucky for me, I do have that kind of time machine. It's a TV show. Even better, I get to bring you with me when I go out and discover amazing places like Sunsational Farms in Umatilla, Florida. This juice was on the tree this morning. I went and picked the oranges myself. We're gonna take you through that. We're gonna take you through a lovely day. Get in my time machine and come on. Let me take you where the food comes from. "20 years ago, there were about 1 million acres of Florida citrus groves. Now that number is less than 400,000. That's primarily due to a lethal disease called Huanglongbing, HLB, or more simply, citrus greening disease. It's spread by a little flying bug. Once that bug reaches a citrus grove, it's game over. There's no cure, there's no change. What Florida farmers have had to do is learn to find ways to live with citrus greening and learn to find ways to adapt to change. Some of those ways have been becoming blueberry farmers, growing peaches, growing vegetables, growing citrus undercover, different kind of protective means. Some people have taken another route altogether. They've turned to agritourism. They're creating adventures and experiences for families based around farming to literally show you where the food comes from. Some of these things are sensational, but only one is sunsational. Welcome to Sunsational Farms. Guys, just another day at work. It's a beautiful morning here in Florida. So how long has this grove been planted? How long has this grove been in operation?
Been here about 15 years.
15 years?
Yes, sir.
And it's still producing really good despite the greening and all of that. This is what provides the fruit that makes the juice, that makes Sunsational go.
Yes, sir.
And I believe y'all gonna put me to work this morning?
Yeah, we'll get you picking a little bit of fruit for us.
A little bit of fruit. So I tell you, sometimes I think people are less interested in being on television than they are in getting a little free labor. So I'm gonna jump out here and y'all gonna show me how to do this?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's go. All right, Bill, what variety of citrus is this?
This is a Valencia.
This is the juice orange. This is kind of the industry standard.
It's the premier.
For juice.
Yes.
So we're out here to pick. We're going to pick some that we're going to be juicing in a little bit. What I need you guys to explain to me, how do you know which ones to take and which ones to leave? How do you know when they're ready? Give us a little demo.
Well, anything, it's got a little bit of green, got green on it, is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But the more orange they are, the better.
Is it based on size, color, all that?
Size is good. Firmness for juicing is good.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see some that are very soft, and we don't like those because
they're not going to go through as well?
They're not going to go, well, they're a little overripe.
Okay.
So
does that affect the flavor or the machinery or the run of
just the flavor a little bit?
The flavor.
Yeah,
so
we're looking for something that's,
a little more tart, a little fresher, a little tangier.
Yes.
Like to me, I would think That one looks
Looks
pretty good.
That'd be good.
And it's firm.
Yep.
It's not like a baseball, but
But it's good.
and do you just snap it off,
If you
pull
take
it off?
If you take it with your hand
Okay.
and just twist your arm.
Twist your arm.
Twist your finger or your wrist a little bit.
That's all connected.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, there's a song about that.
Yeah.
One bone's connected to the other bone, some. Now, like this little guy, is he ready to go?
Yes, sir.
So just a twist.
Just, yep.
There it is, right there. How about that?
Okay.
Now, I didn't get my own bag. I don't think they expect me to be very productive. 15 years for this grove. How long has your family been around here, Bill?
They moved here in the 50s from Pennsylvania.
Not a lot of citrus up there.
They're potato farmers. They came basically because of my granddad's health. They said to get him someplace warm, and he came down here and lived another 35 years and started the citrus business. And
Farmers are going to farm, so they just quit farming potatoes and started farming citrus.
Yes, sir.
And things went along pretty well for 50 years or so, I guess.
Real good until the 80s. We had some freezes about 83, 85, and 89.
That started damaging some of the legacy groves and things that this state had.
Yes, sir.
That's when they figured out maybe things needed to move a little further south or they needed to change things up.
Yes, sir.
Then it seems like 50 years ago, it was pretty easy to be a Florida citrus grower.
You made good money at it. You didn't need a lot of it. It was a lot easier. Yes, sir.
And it didn't have a whole lot of inputs. It was as close as it gets to the picture people have in their head of you plant it, you go sit on the porch and wait for it to be done and come back and pick it up. But that changed very radically starting about 20 years ago.
Yes,
I think the first problem y'all ran into was citrus canker.
Yes, sir.
Which is really just kind of makes it ugly, but it put a big crimp in Florida citrus business because that fruit could no longer leave this state and be transported to other states.
Yes, sir.
Because of worries about spreading that canker. I'm sure everybody wishes now that canker was the biggest problem they had to deal with.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we learned how to deal with that one. It wasn't a big deal. And, and then the greenie came along. And then
citrus greening, Huanglong Bing, HLB. It's run rampant in the citrus industry in China. It's run rampant in South America. In the United States, Florida is the only place it is. Unlike China and Brazil, you guys can't just plant this grove, work it as long as it lasts, then clear some trees, push out, replant groves and start over again. In China, they can do that. They can take whatever land they want and keep going. You've got to deal with capitalism and a democratic process.
Yes, sir.
So you have to find ways, like every citrus grower in Florida, to work with what you've got and get the most out of what you got. All of that said, after generations of citrus farming, you've hung on, you've fought the fight, you're still in here plowing. We're literally out here picking your own fruit right now, but you had a different idea about a different way. The way farmers often do, they say necessity is the mother of invention, and sometimes necessity is just a mother, you know? So everybody has to adapt and change, especially in farming. Your next step was to partner up with Brian's family over here and create what's now known as Sunsational Farms, which is where we are today. We're getting the basic product for what's running Sunsational Farms. Tell us a little bit, what is Sunsational Farms? What are we about to go see?
Sunsational Farms is an agritourism destination, very family oriented. We like to educate people on where food comes from and growing and having local produce. We also do some family activities as well, but we started, my family had a packing house, started back in 2001, and I came on in 2015 to run it until 2018. At that time, we had a little retail shop and we sell honey and oranges and stuff like that. And we decided to open up a little bit bigger retail store. And so that was a standalone business outside of the packing house. We had the packing house and the store. And we started talking to Bill about, you know, hey, we're interested in doing like a agritourism thing, some vegetables and stuff like that. So we decided to start the farm and move the retail store to where the location is now, and that's how Sunsational was.
Well, let me back you up a little bit. You said, you know, we had a packing house. Okay, well, what happened before that? How many generations? Are you Florida citrus legacy people?
Yeah, my family moved down here in the 50s, and my grandfather and father did citrus.
Where'd they come from?
From New York.
From New York.
Yes,
so
sir.
They're all coming down here.
Come from north. Yes.
To plant citrus groves. Now, you both still have your family citrus operations.
Yes.
You've got your groves, you've got your groves. You've come together to make Sunsational Farms. What was the inspiration for that?
I could just see the decline in the volume coming into our packing house. I sort of the writings on the wall of the devastation of greening. It was just a need to diversify and find an alternative. We did not want to do homes. We wanted to keep something in ag, something rural. And so this was what we considered the best option to diversify one of our groves that was 15 acres.
You know what, the thing I love about agritourism is anytime you can get people to pay to watch you work, that's pretty good.
And we wanted to do something for the community.
Absolutely.
Someplace that families can come, kids could be outside doing stuff. We do field trips for a lot of the schools around.
Right.
They can come learn how things grow.
Sure.
Yeah. Where the food comes from. They get to take a lettuce home with them. At the end of the day, they get planted and stuff. So I mean, I think it's a good educational tool for the community.
And I think part of what I like about it is a lot of time anybody who's been in Florida a long time complains, well, it's nothing like it used to be. It's not like I remember it. It's not like the old days. It's not like it was. But coming into Sunsational Farms, it's almost like a little bit of a time machine
Nostalgia.
moment, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Let's pick some oranges,
Let's get to it.
Let's get them. Let's get them while the getting is good. Y'all move a lot faster than I do, I guarantee you that. Oh, here's some. What they call low-hanging fruit. Now, Brian, this is really one of the most important machines, not only at Sunsational Farms, but in the business. People talk sometimes like farmers are trying to poison them. They don't really believe that you do what this machine does. Tell me what this machine does.
That's right. So this is actually taken from our commercial packing house after it closed. So what we do here is we dump the fruit, washes it.
Wash.
Yep. And we can dry it if we want to. If we're selling it for fresh, we can put wax on it as well. Since we're juicing these today,
Give
we're
it
just
that
washing
extra
it.
cosmetic appeal, so that just like when you're buying loose oranges for eating oranges, those are going to have been polished, waxed, prettied
Yeah.
up.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to juice. They don't get that last step.
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever we get in the juice room, we'll sanitize it as well before we juice it. But yeah,
That's another step. So they're washed here. Then when we take them up to the juice room,
Yep.
they're going to go through another sanitizing
That's
process.
correct. Yep. and
People
then
don't
we juice.
understand how seriously this industry takes food safety.
Yeah.
And I know everybody does it because they have to, and there's regulations and there's things like that, but nobody wants to make anybody sick.
And the juice that you buy from the store has been pasteurized. So they have that final sort of check where they know there's nothing, no contaminants or anything. Since we do raw, unpasteurized orange juice here, we definitely take our juice serious and make sure we're cleaning as much as possible. And
All those
sanitizing
extra
it.
steps and all those extra
It's a raw
things
product
that
so we don't pasteurize.
that people don't ever see and they don't ever know, but those things are happening
Yes,
all
sir.
the time. And it's really important, especially in Florida, with juice and when you're talking about juice, because people think about Florida being citrus world and the land of oranges, and boy, it's true, they're everywhere and there's a lot of them, but about 90% of this Florida crop, no one's ever going to see except in a glass. When they're drinking it, 90% of Florida's oranges go to juice.
Yep, especially with the Valencia.
Well, and you got a great flavor, and it's not always the prettiest orange. It's not
Yep.
something you would give somebody as a gift.
Right.
But Florida has some tougher conditions. You've got wind, you've got the sand. Just one little grain of sand, the wind blows it across a small orange. By the time that orange is big, it's a big scar
You're
on that
absolutely
orange.
correct.
And someone's going to look at that in the supermarket and go, oh, I don't think, there's nothing wrong with that fruit.
Right.
Just a little ugly.
Right.
So some of us have had to learn in life to deal with being a little ugly, and somehow we get by.
And the maturity, you know, some of the oranges you can see are still somewhat green.
Right.
And green's okay, green's good. The content on the inside is what we're going for, and these oranges have good content, so they're ready to go.
Once this fruit is finished running, from here, we're going straight to the juice room
Yes,
with
sir.
it. All right, you ready to get going?
Sure.
Let's do it.
All right.
So Bill, this is where the rubber meets the road, as they say. We've seen these oranges come off the tree, come back, go through the wash process, came through, were sanitized again here. Now they're gonna go into this machine and turn into delicious OJ.
Yes, sir.
Let's see how that happens.
Okay.
How much juice can that machine make? How fast can it produce? What do you?
When we do both machines, we juice about 100 gallons a week, and we do that in about 2 hours.
2 hours?
Yeah.
100 gallons?
Yeah.
So do you only juice Valencias? Do you ever do other things?
We juice Hamlins early in the year.
Right.
Starting usually around Thanksgiving, and we'll juice Hamlins through about end of January. February, we may mix Hamlins and Valencias together. And then starting in March, it's all Valencias, March, April, and May. You like the color of that juice?
I love the color of that juice.
Valencias are so
But I
dark.
love the smell of this.
Oh.
But that looks like a picture of orange juice. Bill.
Yes, yes.
I mean, that's what you expect orange juice to look like in your head. We hear people talking about imperfect produce.
Yes, sir.
And seconds. And things that used to be discarded, we're now finding a use for those things, which is part of the stewardship. And that's something Florida figured out a long time ago with growing fruit for juice. This is the most beautiful color orange juice I've ever seen in my life. I hope you've got your monitor screen adjusted appropriately to be able to see it, but it doesn't really matter how pretty it is. What matters is this step right here. I'm gonna think this is probably the freshest orange juice I've ever had in my life. We picked the fruit off the tree, we brought it up here, we washed it, we cleaned it, we sanitized it. I just fed it into the juicer myself. I deserve this. It's incredible the difference between something you buy in a supermarket carton and something that comes right off the tree, right in the cup, and right in your mouth. Oh man. So it's a beautiful day in May in Umatilla. It's the middle of the week and we're sitting here at Sunsational Farms, which your two families have created together. Multi-generational Florida citrus families. What does it mean to you, Bill, to be able to sit on this spot on land where your DNA is literally in the dirt and be able to see what you've built and be able to see that come to life?
Just amazing me. The thing I love most though is being able to watch somebody sitting on the front porch, in the rocking chair, enjoying a good time, and being able to get some good vegetables that were grown here on the farm, some good orange juice that was squeezed right here and grown right here locally, and just see where their food's coming from, but also get to enjoy family, being outside. So many families today are just, they're locked up in their houses, they're playing on the video games, they're not getting out.
This was one of our family's orange groves for as long as I can remember.
Where we're sitting now?
Right where we're sitting, yes,
Wow.
sir. And you know, watching the trees decline and just knowing that the grove had served its purpose, it's time for something else. And not wanting to put back citrus, but wanting to keep something in agriculture, something for families and a place like this is agritourism type things.
Now, did you go straight through the citrus chain? I mean,
I actually was doing architecture.
what?
I was doing architecture before, yes. Sitting behind a computer 10 hours a day wasn't necessarily my lifestyle.
Pictures of buildings.
Yeah.
You lost your father, you were an architect. At that time you came back to help out with the family farm. Did you want to, or did you feel like you had to? What was the pull? What brought you back here, Brian?
There was a little bit of both, I'd say. The need to see the family business keep running the packing house with our family. So it was a desire to sort of see that continue on.
Family packing house, when we talk about a packing house, that's the place where the citrus goes and runs. We saw the little machine that washes it. We saw the juicers. We saw those kind of things. On a large scale, like you said, that machine is one of the machines that was in your family packing house. That was your legacy. That was that heritage. That was everything everybody in your family had worked for. It must have been a murderous moment.
It was a very difficult decision, especially something that, you know, my mom had been doing for so long to finally say that this is not going to work out anymore. You know, so it was definitely tough on our family, and then to take a leap and do something like this, you know, so it was a big change over those 2 years that we were trying to build this up.
And all of this has come because at peak in about 2000, Florida had close to 1 million acres of citrus groves. Now, I think in the last citrus census I saw, it's a little under 400,000. And most of that has been lost, if not directly to greening, through associated things, business decisions like your family made due to greening. There's got to be a certain satisfaction in having the cussedness to stick it out and make a go of it, guys.
It's not an easy job, but something you just love to do. I mean, I love being outside. I worked as an accountant for 8 years. I hated being in an office.
Right.
I like the variability, something that changes every day.
Yeah.
You're not doing the same thing day after day after day.
Yeah.
So I just love
Ever.
that.
I mean,
yeah.
ever. Even if it's the same thing, it ain't the same day.
No. And you never know what you do until you get up in the morning, because sometimes what needs to be done, and you have to go do it.
It is very satisfying to be able to grow something,
Yeah.
and somebody says, that's good, that's a good tomato, that's a good strawberry, you know, that is very rewarding for me. So
I heard
enjoy
people
that.
in the store, there was somebody who had brought a couple who were friends of theirs who had never been here before. And they were walking around picking up the big tomatoes and going, can you believe this? Look at this. And it's the things and the joy on their faces. And y'all weren't even there, so they weren't trying to get a better deal or something. They were genuinely thrilled to be here and really happy to be here and see that. You know, I tell you, we get to see special places as we travel, and we get to meet great people. And there's something unique about each and every one, but there's something very similar. There's a heart and a soul that runs through farming. It doesn't matter what you're growing or where you're growing it. You've got something in common with the other people who care so much. They're so passionate, so committed. They'll do anything to keep you fed out here where the food comes from.